Hi everyone, it's Giselle with another message for today, and I wanted to talk about some lessons that I've personally learned on this twin flame journey. Things that I want to share with you if you may be starting out, but I'm hoping that it won't just be for people starting out, but that it could help everyone who is on this journey to true love. So, the first thing that I want to say is that this journey is all about you. And I know that when I first started out and I heard this, it gave me so much resistance. I kept thinking, no, I'm not meant to live this life alone and go through life alone and all of this. No, you're not. You're not meant to go through life alone. And especially if you believe that you're meant to spend your life with the love of your life, then of course you will be with the love of your life. But one of the reasons why this journey is so challenging is because a lot of the lessons that you need to learn need to be learned by you. And if you compare this to when you used to study for school or university, it's very hard to study when you have someone in the room with you because they won't be studying for the same thing. And I even said this to one of my clients that was doing a reading for yesterday. They kind of said, should I pull away? Am I distracting my person? I said, yes. You are constantly in their energy. And if you liken this to studying for an exam, when you're really trying to focus and concentrate, it is hard to concentrate when there's someone in your ear all the time saying, I love you, I need you, I want to be with you. And they're just trying so hard to study. So that's one of the things that I've learned is that you need time to focus. But likewise, they need time to focus. And also one of the bigger lessons that I've learned is that you cannot learn someone else's lessons for them as much as you want to. And this is one of my big downfalls because when I was younger, religion taught me that I couldn't be selfish, that I always had to give. But in doing so, I wasn't receiving and I wasn't giving back to myself or allowing myself to receive. And that in itself is also wrong because then you're just depleted through constantly giving and never receiving in return. So it's never an equal give and take. So my initial reaction to this lesson learning process was, well, can't I do it for them? I want to help. Yeah, that was my big thing. I want to help. But sometimes you just can't help. And if you think about it in terms of sitting an exam, they would do so much better and feel so much better knowing that they accomplished this, that this wasn't something that you've done for them once again. So, as tough as it may be, hopefully people will start to understand that they need to do these things for themselves and they cannot sit someone else's exams for them, or even helping can become a hindrance when done in an unequal balance. When it's not balanced, I mean, when there's too much giving, not receiving, or vice versa. And what I also want to share, another thing I've learned is that when you're intuitively guided to ask questions, or when questions are being asked, when you're thinking about things and your mind suddenly goes, oh, what about this? These questions are important for you to pay attention to, not just to answer them, but to look at them more closely and how that is impacting you. Because when I was first thinking about meeting my person's family and friends, I initially thought, are they going to like me? Are they going to judge me for anything? Those kind of questions. And those questions are very telling of what you need to work on next. If you're receiving questions like that, then it means that you need to look at this. Why am I not feeling worthy? Why am I feeling not good enough? Why am I afraid that they're not going to like me? Why do I think certain things will be a hindrance? And really look at that until you're satisfied with the work that you're doing to really get over these issues. Because you need to get yourself to a stage where you're confident in yourself, where you know that you are worthy and that you are deserving and that you will be accepted for who you are, because you deserve to be accepted for who you are, because you're an amazing and wonderful person. But of course, in the beginning stages, it's often quite difficult to understand this. What I've also learned, not just through my own journey, but through helping so many people on this path, is that a lot of the time, not all of the time, but a lot of the time, people seem to meet their person when they themselves are on an equal path. I know for me, I was a little bit lost with regards to what direction to take for my work. This was before I'd set up this business, and I was still working full time in my job in finance. And I then discovered that my person was in an equal place of feeling lost, where they needed to still find their footing with regards to their career. I was also not 100% clear on my desires for my romantic life. I had an idea, but parts of me didn't quite feel deserving, and that again was reflected in my journey. And I know the same for him too. So people often meet at a similar phase in their life, and then the time apart is useful for recalibrating that. I know that I've changed a lot, and this is what I've told my person, and they've realized this about me. They said, well, you're very different to how you were when we first met. And of course, all those years ago, I must admit, I wasn't fully confident who I was. Which leads me again to another point, and what I've learned is that never be afraid to be yourself and to speak your mind, even if you think that it's going to scare them off or make them not want to be with you. Firstly, you shouldn't think like that. That was one of my downfalls. I kind of thought, man, if I'm 100% myself, they may not like this about me. Particularly my gift, which freaked me out having to tell them. Because when I was younger, it wasn't accepted. I was born a medium, and through religion, my family rejected that gift. They didn't think it was something to be celebrated. So I had to suppress who I was for so long. And this is one of the things that scared me when it came to telling my person. But I've recently told them about this. I've recently told them who I was. I've recently just blown the lid off everything about me. I have nothing more to hide. They know exactly who I am. And now it's up to them to come to terms with that and integrate that into their life. It's not my problem or my worry. If they don't accept me, then, oh well, that's their loss. That's how I feel now. But I also know that they do love me for who I am, because on a soul level, we already are united and loving each other exactly for who we are. We chose this. So there is no way of being rejected. But this was something that took me a very long time to come to terms with. So never be afraid to speak your truth, to be who you are, and to be accepted for exactly who you are. And what I also want to talk about is that no matter what your situation looks like, if there is a third party on the physical, energetically, if you don't feel that that's your truth, then that isn't your truth. And oftentimes we try to see it and then believe it. But how it really works on an energetic level is believing it, then seeing it. That's why a lot of the readings, these third party people don't even come through, because they're not significant. They are there as karmic lessons, but they're not there as a permanent hindrance that will prevent you from ever reuniting with your person. If that is the case, however, and it's very rare, but sometimes it happens, where I'll get a case where there is a third party or just a big no-no on if you should ever be with that person, then that is just unfortunately not your person. But majority of times, more often than not, when there is a hindrance, whether that's a job, family members, or an actual third party, as in like a karmic partner, when that is not part of the energy, not part of your truth, then that is just a temporary lesson that they need to learn and get over. So those are some things that I wish I knew. Oh, and the biggest thing I nearly forgot. The biggest thing is that your intuition needs to be followed. No matter how unlikely some things may seem. Like for me, there was a whole year of no contact. And at one point I thought, how in the world are things going to present themselves the way that I'm being shown this intuitively when there is no contact? But I shouldn't have been afraid, because knowing now what I know, and I wish I knew back then, is that when things are meant to be together, the universe will conspire to bring them to you. So even if there is no physical proof of how this is going to come together, things will come together. And I did receive contact again out of the blue, and we are still in contact and moving forward to unite physically, because energetically we have been united for so long, for so many years. And I do believe, and I need to keep believing in my intuition, that what I'm seeing is correct, and not to dismiss things even if there's no tangible proof. So I hope that these things that I've learned have helped you. If you'd like to book a reading, healing, channeled letter, or love letter, those types of letters are pretty much the same thing. It just depends if you want them from your person, which I would class as a love letter, or just a channeled letter from anyone you want guidance from, really, including your higher self. Then all the details are in the description. I'm offering 25% off a 4-session bundle. So say you buy a package of 4, you will get the 4th one free. So you get 25% off. You end up only paying for 3, and you have a free session. Okay, so all the details are in the description. I thank you all so very much for watching. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.